This is a test. This is only a test. I do not know how this is going because I cannot see it. I am trying to figure out. No, I do not want to do that. No. How do we do this? We open the YouTube app. Ah, I got an email from myself warning me that I myself am now live. Technology is a beautiful thing, is it not? Wait for the link to load. This is riveting television, is it not? Open with YouTube, yes. Thank you. Who knows what he's doing? This guy knows what he's doing. Alright, let me see if the chat will load. Hi, Paul! Alright, well, I don't know if this is going to work or not. I seem to be having some... stop it. Yes, I'm still roboting. Well, oh my. Okay, let's see. Shay or Callan, one of the two, came in yesterday and suggested I check my settings and try to see what my... here we go. Stream settings. Nope, that's not it. Output settings? Recordings cannot be... Okay, well, I'm not recording, so that's good. I wonder what happens... I wonder if my bit rate is too high. I wonder what happens if I lower the bit rate significantly. Let's try 750. That's what I was streaming at yesterday. Let's see if that makes a difference. Paul, I'm sorry you tuned in for this absolute rubbish stream. This is a test. If it goes well, I'll do a chapter. But I don't know. Come on, machine, work for me. Let me see. I know it's going to take the YouTube a little bit of time to catch up. Oh, Paul says he'll stay on and let me know if it improves. I appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. Wow, I wash out bad when I get close to the light, don't I? I am not pale at all, and I spend a lot of time out in the healthy, healthy sunlight. Let's see. There is such a lag. That's it, and I seem to have crashed again. I'm going to hope that because of the lag, that rebooting thing is because of me changing the bit rate. Let's see. I gotta bend down to check a second. Let's see. Well, I'm down to only almost 60% dropped frames, and I seem to be streaming around somewhere in the 900 KB per second, so that... Don't touch anything, it's working now, he says. All right. Okay, so those, I think I made those permanent changes. At least, I mean, not permanent, but I think I fixed. So at least I know what that issue was. I was trying to stream at too high a bit rate, and I was overwhelming. Whoops. KB per second just went through the floor again. No, don't touch anything. Okay, I haven't changed anything in the last couple of minutes. I've just been watching the data blip about on the bottom of the screen. You know what? I bet part of my problem is I've just got too much going on right now. Let me try. That's the best so far. Okay. All right. I will have to touch base with the amazing Super Chris and see if he can tell me how to figure out getting something in real time over here on the screen. But this appears to be the best and most professional I've looked in quite some time. So some technical bobbles aside at the start, we seem to be in pretty good shape, which is fairly remarkable. How do you like the new background? MathPig made that for me. All credit to the mighty MathPig. I was talking something in the stream last night about a background or a thumbnail, something of that nature. And he said, "Do you want me to throw something together for you real quick?" And I said, "Oh, sure. Why the hell not? In fact, I would greatly appreciate it." And like 5 damn minutes later, this shows up in my DMs on Twitter. It's beautiful. It's got a coffee cup and a coffee pot, and I can't figure it. There we go. I love the no Bible glyph over here. Alrighty, let's see. Nerdy says, test message. Hello, Nerdy. I see you in the chat. I can't see the chat on my big screen, so I'm using my cell phone on a tripod with the YouTube app open as a second screen to see the chat. So that's it's the little improvements, a little bit along the way. Every day, in every way, I'm getting better. What the hell is that from? It's just coffee. All right. Well, since we seem to be going okay today, I'm going to change my camera just a little bit. Just a smidgen. Linda, hello. Welcome. Nerdy says, yeah, that's one way. that's true. I feel like there's a better way, but I don't know what the better way is, at least not without touching something that I don't want to touch right now because I don't want to monkey with any settings. Well, we got some folks in the house right now, so I guess we will pick off where the cliffhanger left us yesterday at chapter 20 of 2 Samuel, and hope that this continues to work for us, which it seems to be working so far. Fantastic. Hey, Morton, welcome. Nerdy says you can pop a chat window out or have it right in OBS. There's a couple of other ways. Yeah, I'm going to monkey around that with that sometime. Probably late at night my time when nobody is actually online, so that I don't, because I'm afraid to touch it right now since it's actually working for once. Junk Shop actually made some technology work. It's an amazing, amazing thing. I didn't know I had it in me. I really and truly did. Yeah. Paul says, "Oh, cool, Bible study." I honestly didn't expect this to work because it's technology, and it took me a year and a half to figure out how to actually light myself so I didn't look like Two-Face. But we're slowly getting better. Slowly I turn, step by step. Linda says, congrats. Thank you, Linda. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm just tickled pink right now that this is working as well as it is. Okay. Well, we'll go on then since we're live and it's working. Went live at noon, so let's see. So that's what, 6 p.m. for Paul, and I don't know what time for Linda. And I don't even know where Nerdy is, to be honest, what time zone. Okay, well, we'll go for a little while then. We won't... Shoot, there's only 24 chapters in 2 Samuel. We'll see how it goes. No sense in getting over-ambitious. And I'll keep an eye on the chat on the high-tech, spare no expense. Second screen technology. And there happened to be there a man of Belial. Always a bad sign. There happened to be there a man of Belial, whose name was Sheba, the son of Bichri, a Benjamite. And he blew a trumpet, and said, We have no part in David, neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. Every man to his tent, O Israel. So every man of Israel went up from after David, and followed Sheba, the son of Bichri. But the men of Judah clave unto their king, from Jordan even to Jerusalem. And David came to his house at Jerusalem, and the king took the 10 women, his concubines, whom he had left to keep the house, and put them in ward, and fed them, but went not in unto them. So they were shut up unto the day of their death, living in widowhood. Then said the king to Amasa, Assemble me the men of Judah within 3 days, and be thou here present. So Amasa went to assemble the men of Judah. But he tarried longer than the set time which he appointed him. And David said to Abishai, Now shall Sheba the son of Bichri do us more harm than did Absalom. Take thou thy lord's servants, and pursue after him, lest him get fenced cities and escape us. And there went out after him Joab's men, and the Cherethites, and the Pelethites, and all the mighty men. And they went out of Jerusalem to pursue after Sheba the son of Bichri. When they were at the great stone which is in Gibeon, Amasa went before them. And Joab's garment that he had put on was girded unto him, and upon it a girdle with a sword fastened upon his loins in the sheath thereof. And as he went forth, it fell out. And Joab said to Amasa, Art thou in health, my brother? And Joab took Amasa by the beard with the right hand to kiss him. But Amasa took no heed to the sword that was in Joab's hand, so he smote him therewith in the 5th rib, and shed out his bowels to the ground, and struck him not again, and he died. So Joab and Abishai his brother pursued after Sheba the son of Bichri. Smite, repeat, agreed. And one of Joab's men stood by him, and said, He that favoureth Joab, and he that is for David, let him go after Joab. And Amasa wallowed in blood in the midst of the highway. And when the man saw that all the people stood still, he removed Amasa out of the highway into the field, and cast a cloth upon him, when he saw that every one that came by him stood still. When he was removed out of the highway, all the people went on after Joab, to pursue after Sheba the son of Bichri. And he went through all the tribes of Israel unto Abel, and unto Mathmaachah, and all the Berites, and they were gathered together, and went also after him. And they came and besieged him in Abel of Beth-Maachah, and they cast up a bank against the city, and it stood in the trench. And all the people that were with Joab battered the wall to throw it down. Then cried a wise woman out of the city, Hear, hear! Say, I pray you, unto Joab, Come near hither, that I may speak with thee. And when he was come near unto her, the woman said, Art thou Joab? And he answered, I am he. Then she said unto him, Hear the words of thine handmaid. And he answered, I do hear. Then she spake, saying, They were wont to speak in old times, saying, They shall surely ask counsel at Abel. And so they ended the matter. I am one of them that are peaceable and faithful in Israel. Thou seekest to destroy a city and a mother in Israel? Why wilt thou swallow up the inheritance of the Lord? And Joab answered and said, far be it from me that I should swallow up or destroy. The matter is not so. But a man of Mount Ephraim, Sheba, the son of Bichri by name, hath lifted up his hand against the king, even against David. Deliver him only, and I will depart from the city. And the woman said unto Joab, behold, his head shall be thrown to thee over the wall. And the woman went unto all the people in her wisdom, and they cut off the head of Sheba the son of Bichri, and cast it out to Joab. And he blew a trumpet, and they retired from the city, every man to his tent. And Joab returned to Jerusalem unto the king. Now Joab was over all the host of Israel, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada was over the Kerethites and over the Pelethites, and Adoram was over the tribute, and Jehoshaphat the son of Ahilud was recorder, and Sheva was scribe, and Zadok and Abiathar were the priests, and Ira also the Jairite was a chief ruler about David. And there we have the extremely gory 20th chapter of 2 Samuel. How you like them apples? That's some Old Testament crap right there, that is. All right. You know what? I just realized I'm broadcasting sound, but I'm broadcasting it through the webcam. I don't have to be wearing this thing. Still audible? Still audible. I see my audio mixer still going. All right. Well, we'll just set Mr. Headset aside there, and keep on keeping on. Oh, that's right. Nerd is in the UK. I knew that. 1815. Sat outside in the sun, going to have a beer while I read. That sounds delightful. Enjoy, my friend. Linda says they've been outside today as well. Junk Shop says, or rather, Paul says, Junk Shop, it looks real good and working great so far. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad this is working. I'm so happy right now. I just realized I've been using this giant ass headset with the microphone for so long I feel a little bit naked without it. Weird. Okay, so chapter 20, we see that we just can't leave poor Mr. David alone without a civil war. He's just gonna have him a civil war because people ain't happy with him, apparently. Morton says, I was catching up on some back catalog while I was at work. When I told people I was doing Bible study, they looked at me funny. Any idea why? Yeah, I hadn't told anybody what I'm doing right now. If anybody in my actual life knew that I was doing internet Bible study, they'd think I lost my fucking mind. Right. So Sheba, the son of Bichri, the son of Benjamin, leads an armed uprising against David, and he and his folks set off. We're not having it anymore, they say. And they leave. And David finally gets home to Jerusalem after all this time. Finally gets home to Jerusalem. Oh, yeah. You remember those 10 concubines he left behind at the start when he knew that his son was coming into the city to take over his city and his house, and he left his at least 10 of his concubines. Let me try that again. 10 of his concubines that we know of, he left behind. No mention of any other wives or concubines accompanying him into the field and onto the march, but you know, they're women, so the book's not likely to mention that either way. And apparently the book only mentioned these 10 because after David finally gets back to Jerusalem, he puts them under house arrest and leaves those 10 women there until the day of their death. Doesn't starve them to death, feeds them. but just fucking leaves them there. Just so much for that. No real mention of why. He doesn't give some kind of long speech about how he's afraid that his son may have violated his property or anything, though you know that's got to be part of it. My childhood respect for David, King of Israel, just takes more little chippy chips every single day. You know? What we were taught in church school way back yonder low these many moons ago was that David was a mighty man of war who was raised up by God to take over from sinner King Saul and proceeded to lead his people in righteousness. No mention of all this. I mean, David and Bathsheba, obviously, although the aggressively rapey element of that story was usually glossed over in favor of the murdery part, because, you know, this is America, and we can deal with violence all day long, but anything venal we're not real good at. Morton says, I have come a long way since genocide, Genesis. Yeah, sound and picture quality have improved immensely. Thanks so much, Morton. That's so good to hear. Part of it's, honestly, is just practice. Part of it's the fact that I'm not shooting on my phone anymore. Part of it's better lighting. Thank you for the suggestion, as always, Wonder Lady Faye. And I'll be honest, part of it's y'all. Having an audience who consistently, helpfully gives me feedback and suggestions, and whoever it was that turned me on to OBS, I think I'm really going to have fun with this once I figure it the hell out. And watching some of y'all stream, and you know, got the hang of StreamYard for a while, and probably still use StreamYard here time to time, but the more I play around with OBS behind the scenes, the happier I am with it. In comparison, it's just more versatile. MathPig is in the chat. MathPig, thank you, my friend, for the phenomenal custom background. I do love it so much, and it actually looks pretty damn good. It's fantastic. Wow, so much lag in the video. That's all right. I'm not stressed about that. Y'all can see it in virtually real time, it seems, so that's going to be great. And you know what? I just had a brainstorm. I just figured out how, I'm not going to do it right now because I'm afraid to monkey with anything, but I just figured out how to change the title because I just saw that little chain of text at the top of the screen and made a mental connection to where else I've seen that. So I'll actually be able to do that from now on. I am so happy today. This has just worked out way better than I ever was thinking it would. I was afraid this was going to be another technical issue train wreck. You know, something that if I was lucky, I'd get one quick comment on and then have to leave up under OBS foolishness playlist. Paul says, the smile on my face says it all. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. Thank you, as always, to Paul. I've not shouted you out yet in this video, but Paul, as I think all of y'all know, Paul is my patron and a tremendous source of help and terrific, consistent feedback. So I'm very grateful to have Paul with us today, as always. Morton says OBS can be temperamental at times. Generally a good program, just annoying you can't hear your own voice while setting up a stream. Yeah, I just had to sort of, while I was playing around with it early on, I looked into the, I looked at the audio mixer down there, and just, of course, I'm always going to peek up into the yellow a little from time to time because of this marvelous voice which God hath gifted me in his wisdom. All right, so anyway, so 20 more atrocities by good King David, and Mr. Sheba, son of Bichri, decides he ain't having it, and has gone off away, having taken some of David's army with him. So David sends good old Joab, who he still hasn't found out murdered his marvelous little son Absalom. So he's still okay with Mr. Joab. I wouldn't have told King David either. I don't think he's found out. And Joab goes off and besieges the city. Or no, he doesn't do that yet. First, there's the disemboweling. Amasa, who was... oh yeah, poor Amasa, whose tardiness was the reason he got disemboweled in the street. The king told Amasa, gather up the Judahites within 3 days and bring them back here to me. So he goes to assemble them, but he takes too long. And so Joab grabs him by the beard, fakes him out with an attempted kiss, eviscerates him on the ground, and leaves him there to die of blood loss and disembowelment shock and trauma. Good old Joab. It's no fucking wonder, is it, that all these Bible junkies out here, nobody hardly ever names their son Joab. All his murdering he does is Old Testament, even by Old Testament standards. Holy crap. All right, so when he sees that everybody's stopping to look at the bleeded out, gutted body of Mr. Amasa the Tardy, Joab drags him off out of the road, covers him with a blanket so that people can't see it anymore. And they continue to pursue after Mr. Sheba. And they finally get to the city where Mr. Sheba, son of Bichri, is holed up. And when they get there, they proceed to besiege it, like you do. And all of a sudden, this woman shows up over the ramparts and says, y'all are captained by Mr. Joab, yes? And I say, yes. Says, send him out. I got a message for him. And he comes out. You Joab? Yeah, I'm Joab. She says, you remember that this is the traditional city of parley, right? This is where everybody used to come to terms and agreements. It was proverbial, literally. Please don't tear it down. And he says, well, here's the thing. I'm after Mr. Sheba, who is in hiding in your city of peace. So send him out, and we'll leave the city alone. The woman says, we'll do better than that. We'll give you his head. And she goes and gathers up some people that she knows, and they come and they find Mr. Sheba in the midst of his revolutionary army, and they chop off his head, take it up to the top of the wall, chuck it down to Mr. Joab, and Joab takes it back to David in Jerusalem. And then the chapter ends with a brief explanation of who was holding what offices when, so that we can place it properly in our mental timeline. Morton says, poke the Pope to subscribe. Is that still a thing? It is, when I remember to put up the little me, subscribe to me icon over the Pope at the end of the video. The problem is, I've been doing almost exclusively streams now for so long that I sometimes forget to go back in and add those. And so I have gotten to where I forget to put my little poke the Pope catchphrase there at the end. Now that I can again see the Pope over my shoulder, sorry, I keep trying to move to block out the glare of the light in that glass pane in the secretary. Now that I'm consistently seeing the Pope over my shoulder here again, I'm going to try to remember to do that. that little shout at the end there. Hey, Transgarter, welcome. It is going just fine. We're in OBS today. I took your advice. I bit the bullet and continued to work in OBS, which I had almost given up in violent frustration because I hadn't looked at the settings menu. So I looked at the settings menu, I lowered the what's it a little bit, and we seem to be doing better today. Yeah, apparently I went away for a minute, had a little hiccup. Junk Shop might need some better interwebs. What Junk Shop needs to do is remember to hook up an Ethernet cable to this thing. I strongly suspect that if I wasn't just relying on this ancient inbuilt Wi-Fi on this ancient long-suffering laptop and plugged up an Ethernet cable, we might do better. Because as far as I'm told, wired is always better than wireless, just in terms of reliability. So, and we've got. It's just a matter of moving my setup over there and figuring out what I want in the background. I'm probably going to end up with that giant fish tank in the background. As much as you hear the gurgling of the filter, you might as well get to see the fish every once in a while, I suppose. Whoops, Amiga Nuts. There we go. It thought you were spam. Yeah, you're always welcome. It's working. Yeah, that was a strange autocorrect. A lot better. I appreciate that. All right. I'm sorry. I'm trying to pay attention just to the chat down here and not to the screen up at the top. We're so very far behind every other element of reality that it's going to make me insane. Morton says Wi-Fi. We only use Wi-Fi. Never an issue here, but you have fiber optic, fiber to works. Yeah, I'm at the mercy of. And yes, I'm sorry. Hello, Amiga Nuts. Welcome. I'm a little scattered today. I have had probably enough coffee, but I'm going to finish up this this cup. Transgarter says it depends largely on your router and the upload bottleneck on your computer. I strongly suspect that's it, because this computer's, like I've said before, long-suffering and has been a good and faithful servant for many more years, I think, than it was likely originally anticipated. All right, so this was the chapter. In this chapter, we had spousal abuse, and we had death by gutting for no real reason other than tardiness, which, thank goodness, that's not a thing anymore, because I don't know about y'all, but I've been late once or twice in my life. And beheading, and just a tiny little smidgen of misogyny there at the end. Did you happen to catch that? This woman who's responsible for the salvation of the city and for the death of this son of Belial, Sheba. What's her name? Who cares? She's a woman. Women in the Bible, they're lucky if they get mentioned, let alone named. Good God in heaven. Amiga Nut says he's been called worse than spam. Oh, haven't we all, my friend? No, you just got caught up in the YouTube filter. All right. Let's see. Y'all want to do another chapter? We could go on to 21. It was kind of a natural ending point there at 20, but I could do another chapter while we're running. We've only been going about a little over half an hour, I think, and we've still got folks coming in. every few minutes. So we got 7 folks in the stream right now. I don't know if that's 6 plus me or 7 plus me. Let's do another one while this is working for me. Let's get our money's worth out of the day. We're going on to 2 Samuel 21. Then there was a famine. Oh, great. Then there was a famine in the days of David, 3 years, year after year. And David inquired of the Lord, and the Lord answered, It is for Saul and for his bloody house, because he slew the Gibeonites. And the king called the Gibeonites, and said unto them, Now the Gibeonites were not of the children of Israel, but the remnant of the Amorites, and the children of Israel had sworn unto them, and Saul sought to slay them in his zeal to the children of Israel and Judah. Wherefore David said unto the Gibeonites, What shall I do for you, and wherewith shall I make the atonement, that ye may bless the inheritance of the Lord? And the Gibeonites said unto him, We will have no silver nor gold of Saul, nor of his house, neither for us shalt thou kill any man in Israel. And he said, What ye shall say, that I will do for you. And they answered the king, The man that consumed us, and that devised against us that we should be destroyed from remaining in any of the coasts of Israel, let 7 men of his sons be delivered unto us, and we will hang them up unto the Lord in Gibeah of Saul, whom the Lord did choose. And the king said, I will give them. But the king spared Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, because of the Lord's oath that was between them, between David and Jonathan, the sons of Saul. But the king took the 2 sons of Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, whom she bare unto Saul, Armoni and Mephibosheth, and the 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Saul, whom she brought up for Adriel, the son of Barzillai, the Maholathite. And he delivered them into the hands of the Gibeonites, and they hanged them in the hill before the Lord. And they fell all 7 together, and were put to death in the days of harvest, in the first days in the beginning of barley harvest. And Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, took sackcloth, and spread it for her upon the rock, from the beginning of harvest until water dropped upon them out of the heaven, and suffered neither the birds of the air to rest on them by day, nor the beasts of the field by night. And it was told the daughter of Aiah, the concubine of Saul, had done. And David went and took the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son from the men of Jabesh Gilead, which had stolen them from the street of Beth-san, where the Philistines had hanged them, when the Philistines had slain Saul in Gilboa. And he brought up from thence the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son, and they gathered the bones of them that were hanged. And the bones of Saul and Jonathan his son buried they in the country of Benjamin in Zelah, in the sepulchre of Kish his father. And they performed all that the Lord commanded. And after that God was entreated for the land. Moreover, the Philistines had yet war again with Israel. And David went down, and his servants with him, and fought against the Philistines, and David waxed faint. And Ishbi-benob, which was of the sons of the giant, the weight of whose spear weighed 300 weight, he being girded with a new sword, thought to have slain David. But Abishai the son of Zeruiah succored him, and smote the Philistine, and killed him. Then the men of David sware unto him, saying, Thou shalt go no more with us to battle, and that thou shalt... Blah, blah. Let me try that one more time. Thou shalt go no more out with us to battle. And it came to pass after this, that there was again a battle with the Philistines at Gob. Then Sibbechai the Hushathite slew Saph, which was of the sons of the giant. And there was again a battle in Gob with the Philistines, where Elhanan the son of Jaar or Regim, a Bethlehemite, slew the brother of Goliath the Gittite, the staff of whose spear was like a weaver's beam. And there was yet a battle in Gath, where there was a man of great stature, that had on every hand 6 fingers, and on every foot 6 toes, 24 in number, and he also was born to the giant. And when he defied Israel, Jonathan, the son of Shimeah, the brother of David, slew him. These 4 were born to the giant in Gath, and fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servants. And there we have chapter 21. Stream goes offline at random intervals. Awesome. Always fantastic. Yep. I think next stream we'll plug into the Ethernet cable and we'll see how that goes. Amiga Nut says he's still alive. We celebrate that. Amiga Nuts is the shill extraordinaire. There's a lot of us in the community who get a lot of visibility due to his eternal shilling. All right, so Saul, dead lo these many moons at this point, gets one last little bit of revenge in the way of a famine brought by God. And Mr. David, you know what? I keep meaning to mention this every time this happens. Every time Mr. David inquires of the Lord. How the hell is he doing this? Because we haven't had word of a prophet since what? The death of Samuel? Who's profiting now in Israel? Or is David just talking to God of his own volition? Because that would be fairly extraordinary, and you'd think it would be worth mentioning. People have not historically commonly talked to God of their own volition, nor gotten his feedback when they tried. That's been a pretty uniquely prophetic task. Morton says it came to pass. That's a new one. Wait, no, it's not. Anyway, David inquires of God and says, "Why have we this famine?" Finally occurs to him to do this 3 years into the fucking famine. Not the sharpest tool in the shed sometimes, Mr. David. King over Israel. Why are we having this famine, he says. He says, well, it's because it's yet more misery brought upon my chosen people because of all the messing up that Saul did. David says, great. Still paying for the sins of my predecessor after all this fucking time. He goes and he gathers the survivors of the Gibeonites that Saul had massacred back in the day, so long ago that everybody fucking forgotten that the massacre of the Gibeonites was even a thing. At least I had. Except, of course, for the Gibeonites. I wouldn't want to try to diagram that sentence, but I stand by it. And he asks the Gibeonites, he says, what will it take to make good for the whole your tribe having been slaughtered by Saul thing? And they say, well, we don't rightly know, because anything you give us will be contaminated by the earlier touch of Saul, and we don't really want you killing anybody in an attempt to bring Old Testament style justice. David says, well, God damn it, what do you want? Holy shit, we got to do something. We can't have famine here for the rest of our fucking lives. And they say, I'll tell you what. Give us 7 descendants of Saul that we can kill ourselves in vengeance. And David says, well, that sounds fair. So he rounds up 7 descendants of Saul and sends them out and spares out lame little Mephibosheth because he made a vow to him back in the day, lest we forget. And hands the 7 sons of Saul over to the survivors of the Gibeonite tribe. And the Gibeonites hang them dead in a field. And after they're well gone dead, one of the wifely survivors of Saul comes along and gathers up their bodies and spreads them out on a blanket on a rock and suffers them not to be eaten, except of course by bacteria, which they didn't know about back then. And this goes on for some time, her shooing away the birds of the air and the beasts of the field, long enough for it to get back to David, who is not the most rumor savvy person we've had ruling over Israel in so far in this book, which we're almost a third of the way into. My God. I got a comment today on the video where I covered chapter 48 of Genesis by Joan, who's a new and faithful friend of the channel. And Joan said something about being so glad to be almost done with Genesis, and I couldn't help it. I responded. I said, and just think, only 65 more books to go after that. Oh, and then I almost had myself a little cry, because I'm thinking, and I'm only in 2 Samuel. That's all right. I got material. I got stuff to do for the next. This is going to take us another 2 years to get through. If it's taken us over a year to get a third of the way through, of course, me getting on a regular schedule might help with that, but that's on me. Morton says it was he that prophesied in Israel and guarantees it won't happen again. Paul points out that apparently back in the old days, God was on speed dial. Everyone was speaking to it. Yeah, at least post Judges, right? Back in the day, it was only pretty special chosen-ass people that got to talk directly to God, and everybody else had to take their special word for it. But post-Judges, everybody gets to talk to God, just whenever they damn well please, apparently. All right, so David gets word that poor old, who was it? I've actually got to call her out because it's actually a woman with a name, and it'd be just downright silly woman with a name in the story. Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, who was a concubine of Saul. The word of what Miss Rizpah is doing, standing watch over the bodies of the descendants of Saul, gets back to David, and David says, well, this ain't hardly right. I did give him up to be murdered, but I didn't give him up to be desecrated. So he goes and he retrieves the bones of Saul and Jonathan. He's finally got an excuse to do that from the people who stole them, again, lo, these many moons ago. And he says, thank you, Ms. Rizpah, presumably. It's not noted. He says, thank you, Ms. Rizpah, I'm going to assume, and gathers up the bones of the 7 sons of Saul, sons in the colloquial sense, descendants, and buries them all nicely in Saul's father. And you would have thought the chapter would have ended there, would you not? That would have made sense as a nice little break point. But no, we've got to go to war against the sons of Goliath way back in the day when David was but a ruddy youth, a stripling lad. Well, Mr. Goliath apparently had sons, all of whom also were giants, and one of whom had Ellie. Yes, I said it, and I got it right the first time. I got a stupid, obscure word right the first draw, and technology is working for me. I better update my flying pig insurance, because apparently it is indeed the end of the world, as we know it. Oh, yes, Morton, there is smiting to come. We must smite the giants. The smiting of the giants.
a couple of whom actually have names. Ishbi-Benob, with the heavy-ass spear and the brand new sword. The guy who thought he killed David, but it was just because David was old as shit and got tired of war fighting all this time. And was killed by Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, who's over something. I forget if he's a captain over hundreds or a captain over thousands, but this is not the first time we've encountered the name of it's right in front of my face. Abishai. I was looking like 4 lines too low. Abishai, the son of Zeruiah. And then the men of David come to David and say, "You're too old." David has to go into forced retirement. David is officially past his war-fighting days because he is old. How old? We don't know. But old and tired and worn out from all the massacring and raping he's done in his long kingly career. It takes a toll on you, all that massacring and raping. Robert X is in the house. It's a bit long for just a test. Yeah, well, it started out being just a test, and then the test actually went well, and we've gone through 2 chapters of 2 Samuel. It actually, yeah, actually worked. And I'm told it looks pretty good, even if it does occasionally cut out. Everybody, please make sure to hit the like on this one this time, because this one, oh my gosh, I was so nervous and so tense. I was like, I am going live at a time of day when everybody is home, and I'm doing it in a program I don't normally use, and I'm using a new background, and I'm orienting the camera differently, and I'm using a new setting on the light, and this is going to be a disaster. And then it ended up not being. I'm so happy. All right, so David goes into retirement after the death of Ishbi-Benob, the son of the giant. And they go to war at the Philistines again, at some place called Gob, which is spelt exactly how it sounds. Gob. G-O-B. And there's a brother of Goliath of Gath, who has no name, but who is slain by Elhanan, the son of Jaara-Oregim, who's from Bethlehem, from Bakerville, which we'll revisit much later in the book, but is the hometown of Jesse, the father of David. We know Bakerville. We know it all too well, those of us who grew up in the church. And then there was another giant. This is the one with quadruple polydactyly. No name, but quadruple polydactyly. And he was another son of the giant. And David's nephew, Jonathan, presumably named after David's old lover, who's been dead for quite some time at this point. Jonathan, nephew's David, slew the giant of Gath. And then there seems to be an error. Shock, horror, color me fucking surprised. It says, verse 22, the last verse says, these 4 were born to the giant in Gath. So I got to go back and count. We got Ishbi-Benob of the sons of the giant. We got Sibbechai the Hushathite. No, sorry, that's the guy who slew sons of the giant. Then the brother of Goliath. Then the son of Goliath of Gath, who had quadruple polydactyly. Yep, sure enough. Old Testament can't math. 3 sons and a brother. And then verse 22 says 4 were born to the giant. I mean, I guess given Given the way Old Testament family trees go sometimes, it's conceivable that old Goliath fathered his own brother. Hello, Critical Cripple. Welcome, my friend. Morton says he took the liberty to spam my channel in relevant Discord servers. Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. Look, I will always look forward to being shilled. My friends are awesome. I try to shill them, although I'm not as good at it as some of y'all. Amiganut says, an error. Well, there's a shock. Did I randomly go offline again? I know it's been happening. Okay, well, the chat's still going, so at least there's that. We are Yes. Dave, so far, you came in just as we were smiting the giants. We've had evisceration, decapitation, hanging. Didn't we have 2 decapitations? We've had a lot of decapitation lately. We've got yet another crime against womankind by David, who put his 10 concubines under house arrest by themselves and only allowed them food for the rest of their lives, no human contact. Can you imagine being shut up in one of those teeny little fucking houses they had in the ancient Near East with 9 other people, not allowed to leave forever? And we think we're stir crazy. It's been, what, a month for most of us since we've been shut up in our houses, and we're allowed to leave periodically for essentials. Holy crap. Dave says, smiting is fun. It's certainly fun to say. All right, so, yep. What was I saying? Oh, yes, incest. The Old Testament, right? How silly of me to forget. Yeah, so apparently Goliath of Gath was an incester, including an enemy of the people of God, and fathered his own brother, and also 3 other people, all of whom were also giants. But they're all dead now, and that's the end of the chapter. The giants have been smitten, and not in a good way. All right. With a few crashes along the way, I'm told. I know some folk have just recently come in. Yeah, Morton says the good book. It's so humane. Yeah, no kidding. All right. Yeah, Robert says 1 decapitation more or less. Who's counting? It's the good book. Who cares really? Decapitation. They come and they go. What do you think, y'all? You wanted to do chapter 22? I know we've been going about an hour now. Yes, everybody make sure you're subscribed to Critical Cripple. And if you can, tune into his, well, it's a morning show. Why do I keep looking up at the camera on my phone? This is the camera I should be paying attention to. Everybody make sure you're subscribed to Dave, Critical Cripple, a great friend of the community and a great friend to all of us. He's got a fantastic quiz show, which you should all be watching if you're, I mean, not a quiz show, but a questions show. And I lost my thought. Yeah, if you're not already watching it, it is too much fun. Dave dropping my links in the chat. Thank you so much, my friend. Yes, we are using OBS today, which is responsible both for the new and different look and for, I mean, it's not responsible for any of the glitches and drops. The fact that I'm not actually plugged into the internet and I'm relying on Wi-Fi is responsible for the glitches and drops. You like the new background? MathPig made that for me yesterday, and I love it. Morton says, "Oh yes, the incest. Well, it does stay in the family. Yes, apparently in Gath it does at the very least." So what do y'all think? Another chapter? Yay, nay, indifferent. We got a good little crowd here. Y'all seem to be having fun over in the chat. How's the stream been looking, by the way? Have we had too many more of the random dropouts and errors? Have you had to refresh a whole lot of times? Interwebs is a bit dog, fox. Interwebs is a bit animal, but he is yes. Yes, the next video I will make sure, and I can't vouch. I know what my background needs to be. Never mind. I understand now. I know what I'm doing. I'm smart. I went to college. Yeah, we'll do an Ethernet cable next time, and next time we stream, hopefully we won't have all of the crashes and bangs and collapses that we've had today, or at least only the ones that are in the good book. Or, as we now call it on the channel, the Big Book of War Crimes and Outdated Regulations. It's a new and official title. We've rewritten the card catalog here in the library. There's nothing under Bible, holy, just Big Book of War Crimes and Outdated Regulations. Somebody suggested something else I should add to that, and I don't remember who it was, and I don't remember what it was. If it was you, just, I tell you what, DM me on Twitter, remind me. Or put it in the chat, for that matter. Let's smite some more. We seem to be in favor of smiting. Let's do some more smite. All right, we're all in favor of a little further smitation, I think. Do chapter 22. Oh, Lord. Looks like poetry. 22. And David spake unto the Lord the words of this song. Yep. David spake unto the Lord the words of this song in the day that the Lord had delivered him out of the hand of all his enemies and out of the hand of Saul. And he said, The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my Why did my voice just change so much there? And he said unto the Lord, is all it said. And I'm all of a sudden back in responsive reading, respectful church voice. Old habits die fucking hard, y'all. Shit. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, the God of my rock. In him will I trust. He is my shield and the horn of my salvation, my high tower and my refuge, my Savior. Thou savest me from violence. I will call on the Lord, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from mine enemies. When the waves of death encompassed me, the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. The sorrows of hell compassed me about, the snares of death prevented me. In my distress I called upon the Lord, and cried to my God, and he did hear my voice out of his temple, and my cry did enter into his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled, the foundations of heaven moved and shook, because he was wroth. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also, and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub, and did fly, and he was seen upon the wings of the wind. And he made darkness pavilions round about him, dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. Through the brightness before him were coals of fire kindled. The Lord thundered from heaven, and the Most High uttered his voice, and he sent out arrows and scattered them, lightning and discomfited them. And the channels of the sea appeared, the foundations of the world were discovered at the rebuking of the Lord, at the blast of the breath of his nostrils. He sent from above, he took me, he drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy, and from them that hated me, for they were too strong for me. They prevented me in the day of my calamity, was my stay. He brought me forth also into a large place, He delivered me because he delighted in me. The Lord rewarded me according to my righteousness. According to the cleanness of my hands hath he recompensed me. For I have kept the ways of the Lord, and have not wickedly departed from my God. What is this old man smoking? For all his judgments were before me, and as for his statutes I did not depart from them. I was also upright before him, and have kept myself from mine iniquity. Therefore the Lord hath recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to my cleanness in his eyesight. With the merciful thou wilt shew thyself merciful, and with the upright man thou wilt shew thyself upright. With the pure shalt thou shew thyself pure, and with the froward thou wilt shew thyself unsavory. And the afflicted people thou wilt upon the haughty, that thou mayest bring them down. For thou art my lamp, O Lord, and the Lord will lighten my darkness. For by thee have I run through a troop, by my God have I leaped over a wall. As for God, his way is perfect, the word of the Lord is tried. He is a buckler to all them. For who is God, save the Lord? And who is a rock, save our God? God is my strength and power, and he maketh my way perfect. He maketh my feet like hinds' feet, and setteth me upon my high places. He teacheth my hands to war, so that a bow of steel is broken by mine arms. Thou hast also given me the shield of thy salvation, and thy gentleness hath made me great. Thou hast enlarged my steps under me, so that my feet did not slip. I have pursued mine enemies and destroyed them, and turned not again until I had consumed them. I have consumed them and wounded them, that they could not rise. Yea, they are fallen under my feet. For thou hast girded me with strength to battle, them that rose up against me hast thou subdued under me. Thou hast also given me the necks of mine enemies, that I might destroy them that hate me. They looked, but there was none to save, even unto the Lord, but he answered them not. Then did I beat them as small as the dust of the earth. I did stamp them as the mire of the street, and did spread them abroad. Thou also hast delivered me, thou hast kept me to be head of the heathen. A people which I knew not shall serve me. Strangers shall submit themselves unto me. As soon as they hear, they shall be obedient unto me. Strangers shall fade away, and they shall be afraid out of their close places. The Lord liveth, and blessed be my rock, and exalted be the God of the rock of my salvation. It is God that avengeth me, and that bringeth down the people under me, and that bringeth me forth from mine enemies. Thou also hast lifted me on high above them that rose up against me. Thou hast delivered me from the violent man. Therefore I will give thanks unto thee, O Lord, among the heathen, and will sing praises unto thy name. He is the tower of salvation for his king, and sheweth mercy to his anointed, unto David, and to his seed forevermore. 22. Dodgy, but I misspelled and went with the dog emoji. Funnier that way. Yes, yes, it is. It is a rather dark poem, Amiga Nuts, and also some self-righteous bullshit. This is a classic case of what Godless Engineer calls sucking that God dick, isn't it? Just, oh, he's so great, he's so awesome, everything is perfect, and so am I. Did you catch Mr. David's little auto-fallacious lie there? I have not sinned. I am righteous. I have no reason to be afraid. I have done nothing wrong all the days of my life. I have kept all the commandments of the Lord. Yeah, except for fucking all of them. Jesus Christ. About the only thing he hasn't done that's... Y'all excuse me, I'm sorry. I tried to be good. About the only thing that he hasn't fucked up from the 10 Commandments. I don't know about the other 603. But, sorry, mental math, not my strong suit here in the library. I'm a words guy. Oh, yes. Paul reminds, after the show, you're all welcome in the Discord, Junk Shop Library. If you're not already on my Discord, there is an open invite down in the description of every stream except this one, because I have not yet figured out how to do a description for one I'm doing in OBS. But there's a link. There's a link on the homepage of the channel, at the very least, I think. Y'all know where it is. Dave, drop a link in the chat for me, if you would, if you don't mind. Yeah, behold, I stand flaccid before you, Lord, says Morton. Yeah, exactly. It's a pep rally for warmongers, says Amiga Nuts. You ain't lying. Yeah, we'll go over and hang out on the Discord for a while after we get off of here. Anybody who wants to is welcome. And you're looking for the, try to go into the room that says channel does not work, because it's named that for a reason. So yeah, David, I'm gonna be a little generous here, uncharacteristically so indeed, and say that maybe David's gone a little senile in his old age, and that's the nicest thing I can say about it. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. Because otherwise, he's just lying through his fucking teeth. Right? I mean, he's done murder. He's done rape. Not that that's particularly a crime, only if it's, rape is only a crime if it's the rape of a girl who's engaged to be married. None for that, or married. Because then they're just property, and you're not damaging anyone's prospective goods. You're just doing a crime against the owner. Fucking Old Testament. Jesus Christ. A little bit of misogyny everywhere you turn. Not one of my favorite things. Hey, Doorknob Head. Welcome. Where was it I saw you that was so unexpected the other day? I did not expect to see. It was over on Faye the Most Gracious channel. I'll be honest, I did not expect to see you over there. I don't know why it came as such a surprise to me, but it did nonetheless. Always good to see my friends, however strange a place that may be. And Faye's channel is as good a place as any for anybody to be. That's awesome stuff over there. Yeah, so, I mean, even if you just look at the David and Bathsheba story, David has mightily sinned against God. In fact, God got pissed at him for that. He's just apparently forgotten that he's, hey, Mr. Shadow Kitty, welcome. My lord, everybody's here or been here at some point or other, haven't they? Awesome. Y'all know it's the community aspect of this that I love more than any other. It's just one of my favorite things in the world. What was I saying? Oh yes, in the Bathsheba story, there alone, David commits most of the crimes before God that you can commit that don't involve mixing fabrics or eating shellfish or anything involving mildew or leprosy. God help us, I didn't think we were ever going to get through fucking Deuteronomy. Shit. Leviticus and Deuteronomy was such a slog. It's a wonder I still had any subscribers after that mess. So thank you to everybody who stuck with me. Dave's going to make dessert. Sounds good. All right. I mean, David, I have pointed out probably enough times for y'all to be sick of me pointing it out over the course of the David saga, all of the book, it seems like, how awful a person King David is. Oh, y'all, excuse me. I know we're not supposed to be touching our faces, but it is allergy season, and my nose itcheth like a motherfucker. Oak trees are blooming everywhere. Yeah, good point, Doorknob Head. It was good to see something besides old white guys. Meganuts asks, why does God get pissed sometimes when he already knows what's going to happen? Well, that's a good question, except for the necessarily a foregone conclusion in the Old Testament, right? I mean, we've had God be blindsided and surprised. We've had God regret things he's done, which you don't tend to regret things that you knew you were going to do. Doorknob Head, that's your cue. Oh dear, Nerdy says we're loading again. Hopefully, I'm just going to keep talking, and hopefully the internet catches up. I've been going for almost 90 minutes now, which is always on my internet. Let's see. Everybody says we're stuck in the loading zone. Yeah, Linda says, yes, the MILD. Murder, incest, lies, and deception. I'm essentially just stalling for time here, waiting to see if anybody else points out that we're still in loading hell. If we are, I'll just kill the stream. Nerdy says, because the God of the Bible is a complete noob? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, think back to the Abraham story. You remember the story of the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, where he and Abraham sit around arguing for half a day over how many in Sodom it would take to spare the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, to make it worth sparing, rather, the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah? Yeah, Grown-Up Head says, I often say to people I'm sorry in advance, but... Yeah, but, I mean, that's a good point, Amiga Nuts. I mean, I'm not entirely sure where the doctrine of, this omniscient God who exists outside of space and time and so knows everything that's going to happen before it happens. I'm not sure where it doesn't seem to be coming from the Bible, at least not so far. God's been as easy to surprise as anybody else along the way. The only thing he seems to be able to do is see further than normal people. He could see down the mountain and see that Aaron had set up the calf of gold. God works in mysterious ways. Yep. All right. So, what was that? 22? Yeah, 22 was essentially just David self-aggrandizing, lying about himself, and sucking that God dick. Not that there's anything wrong with sucking dick, but God seems to demand it fairly at the threat of some fairly great violence, which is not the way to go, y'all. Let's see. I have smoked the internet. Oh no! All right. Well, the trouble we're starting to have with the stream, I think we may be doing the old death of the internet. So I'm going to kill the stream here. Thank you all so much for stopping by. If you can actually see this last part, I may just be talking to myself in the camera. But thank you to everybody who showed up. Thank you to you all for your continued support. It's noted and noticed and appreciated endlessly. If you're here watching and not already subscribed, especially if you've made it through to the end of the stream on a replay, do make sure and subscribe. If you like what we've done today, it's been fairly typical of the channel. Oh shoot, we're back online, and Faye the Most Gracious just walked in. Hey Faye, welcome. Can he see faster than normal people? Doorknob Head says. It's apparent. Are we back online? I see the chat's still going. Are we back? I mean, we got people coming in. It almost seems a shame to stop the stream at this point if there's any chance people can still see it when we've got people continuing to come in. Yeah, Amiga Nuts point. Well, we must be back. Almost like somebody just made up the omniscient thingy. Yeah. Or like some priests who wanted to make sure they retained power, made up the idea that somebody sees you when you're sleeping and knows when you're awake, and only through their actions can you propitiate and ameliorate the effects of your transgressions. Yeah, we've got to plug in as many times as we've gone offline. I don't dare try to do another chapter, to be honest. And let's face it, if we do one more, we have to do two more, because there's only 24 chapters in 2 Samuel, and we've it would be weird at this point to do a short stream that only did one verse, one chapter. Doorknob Head says it seems more betterer. Nerdy says it's kind of jumpy, but it's sort of okay. Yeah, I think we just run into the infamous 90-minute crash that we experience here in the library so often. Kind of amazed those Good Friday and Holy Saturday stream as well as they did, given how long they went. One of them ended up going over 2 hours. Holy cow. All right, well, we're not going to try to do 23 and 12. Wanting more. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming in. It's fantastic. Thank you for joining me again, as always. And anybody who wants is welcome over on the Discord channel. Dave has dropped the link in the chat. We've got text and voice. We'll be gathering in the speaking room here just as soon as I get offline. Special thanks, as always, to Paul, my patron and my feedback giver, who was the first person to join the stream today and helped me through some weird technical moments early on. All right, we're going to bail out of here. Thank you all once again for coming. I know I've said that many times at this point, but it truly is appreciated. Thank you to MathPig for the awesome new background. To the good folks over at Transgarter for convincing me to give OBS another shot and giving me an idea of what I might have done wrong that might be causing the continual problems. And I'll continue to futz around with it, and we'll plug into the internet next time.